right, say your first and last name.
Julian Lytle.
Okay, and tell us about your publisher, or just a writer, illustrator,
Cartoonist.
cartoonist. That's the only title?
Yeah, I make stuff. That's where I like to. That's where I like to sit.
Okay.
I make stuff.
So tell us about your booth that you have here at New York Comic Con.
So this year I'm at Artist Alley, table O3. I'm sharing a table with artist Ronald Wimberly. I'm pushing my webcomic, Ants, along with meeting listeners of my podcast, Ignorant Bliss.
Ignorance, tell us about your podcast.
Ignorant Bliss is a podcast I started 5 or so years ago. It started out as a regular podcast where I talked about the comic books I read, the movies I saw, my thoughts on it. Around 2014, I changed it up and started basically recording conversations I had with other creators of color and people that I don't think gets a much notice within comics about different things within comics. Like, let's say about how do you make a living in comics? How is it being a black person in a white space of comics? What is diversity? What is making things beyond superheroes? How come sometimes people don't support said creations that has nothing to do with superheroes within the black space? Like, things like that.
So what is diversity to you in comics?
Diversity to me in comics is, I feel, giving creators a shot at working right now in these companies beyond a quick moment of they've been shamed into letting people write Luke Cage or John Stewart Green Lantern. Why don't you let more women and Latin people and Asian people and Native people write all type of books? And also, how about we open up some shelf space for books that has nothing to do with superheroes at all?
Like what, for example?
Romance comics, sports comics, dramas, suspense, slice of life. Something I would say even different than what it started with indie comics or small press, which is like autobio comics. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to do a horror comic. And it should get the same amount of push as a superhero comic or as an image comic from somebody who sold a bazillion superhero comics, or you might have a TV show.
What has been your experiences as opposed to come to New York Comic Con and having your booth, as opposed to going to like niche conventions like the Black Comic Fest or like the Blur Con? Like, what has been your experience with going to a market that is looking to buy and support Black artists as opposed to being in an event like this?
I have to be honest, I haven't been to many of the Black shows because my schedules and budget at times never seems to align with some of those shows.
Okay.
Over the last 12 years, I've been to a lot of the different conventions. I've been to the biggest ones. I've been to the San Diego's. I've been to the Wizard World Phillies before it became a big show of we're getting whoever the TV stars is. I've been to gaming conventions.
Like which ones?
I've been to Gen Con. I've worked Gen Con. That is a different experience. That is different than any type of
Different
comic
how?
convention. The people are different. What people are there to expect is completely different. It's not comics. It's games. It's sitting down and rolling dice or filling out forms and playing D&D or Magic the Gathering. I've done small shows. I've done SPX. I've done shows like that. I did almost all the New Yorks. I've been here since the beginning.
Okay.
So I've watched it when it was really small in one little area, and they had to fire department shut it down. To now it is what it is now, and it's huge and 4 days long.
Who are some of your favorite Black comic book characters outside of the ones you've created, or that friends that you know that you grew up reading that you just that you're a big fan of?
What's some of my favorite Black comic book characters? You know, I like Huey and Riley in the Boondocks.
Really?
Yeah, I think Aaron Magruder was speaking about certain things at that time that really hit the nail on the head. You know, sometimes it's interesting. You know, some characters in One Piece that I see as black, and I don't like them.
Who?
I see Usopp as like mulatto, and I also see Bones, even though he's dead, as like a Puerto Rican dude. I don't know. Like when you see the way he draws them, they're characters of color. That's the one book I don't. That's the one comic I think that people don't talk about or care about. But he's clearly drawing all different types of people because it's a bunch of island pirating and seas and everything. My friend Ron's book, Prince of Cats, Tybalt, that's a really good character.
I was looking at that. I love the illustrations in it. He does everything.
Yes.
I love the illustration on it. I think, in my opinion, when I cover diversity comics, I get to see a wide range of creativity. Like, everything does not look the same, as opposed to if I go to other conventions and other sects. It kind of all looks the same, like it's all the same storylines, kind of, but you really get to see someone that's independent really push out their creativity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when you get that shot to really put something out there, it's worth it. And sometimes I think my friend was good enough to able to take the ball and run with it. I think sometimes people, they give it a shot and they...
Who are some of your favorite independent artists, since we're talking about independent artists?
Man. Just like creators in general, writers, artists, or anybody?
All of them, just creative talent, period. The black talent that you say, I like the way this person writes, I like the way this person illustrates, I like how this person publishes, I like the content, I like the feel of their paper, like anybody.
Independent. I like what I read from David Walker. I haven't read any of his Marvel stuff, but his outside stuff I like. My friend Sean Pryor, he does a lot of different books, especially all ages books, like Cash and Carry and a whole bunch of other books over the years. He writes good material. Ulysses Farinas, he considers himself Afro-Cuban, so I think that fits black. He does a lot of great work. There's so many, and there's a lot of people that I've met. Afua Richardson does great things. Chuck Collins with...
You're the second person who mentioned that.
Yo, he's a beast. I've been seeing him in these con streets for a long time. I'm glad that his webcomic is blown up. He's starting to push out there. Yeah, those are the ones that really pop in my head really quickly that I like, besides like thinking about my own ideas over and over and over again.
Okay. So what did you grow up reading?
I started reading comic strips. So I started reading Doonesbury and or like the political comics, and then you get into things like Peanuts. Then I read, it was an issue of Superman post-crisis. It was an issue of Transformers. It was, for some reason, Fortress Maximus was in a snow, like a place where you do skiing, a Batman comic. And then I read The Dark Knight Returns when I was 7.
Okay.
So they changed everything. I got deep into comics with X-Men.
Okay.
And that's what I read. I wasn't a Marvel fan, I read X-Men comics.
Okay. So who's your favorite X-Men?
When I was a kid, it was Iceman, then Magneto, now it's Jubilee.
Yeah, why Jubilee? Because no one ever says Jubilee all the time.
She's the best. She's the best teenage X-Men ever made. If you think about it, she saw them in the mall, jumped through a portal. She nursed Wolverine back to health after he was crucified by the Reavers in the freaking Australian outback. And then she beats, and she got powers that basically always wrote them as useless. She just makes fireworks to distract people. But like, she survived the Brute with Ghost Rider. Like, she's a beast. Like, everybody, like, Kitty Pryde ain't got nothing on Jubilee.
You're gonna make a lot of people mad with that one.
Yo, real talk. It's just a lot of like people from that era. They just had a crush on her, and that's why they like her so much. Like, they had a crush on her. He was thirsty for a cartoon character. Jubilee's just generally badass. I don't even like. She's a cartoon character, but they make her do dope things all the time, and they ruin her. They made her a vampire. I'm still mad over that. I'm salty. She ain't get her scene in the movie or nothing.
Sorry.
Yo, top 3 X-Men. Top 3. It's like her, Wolverine. Yeah, that's it. And like Storm.
Okay. So tell us about your comic illustration.
Okay, it's a webcomic. It's called Ants.
Okay.
It is a satire and critique on current events and pop culture. I did it fairly weekly for from 2009 until 2015, and then I took a break, and I took another break. So if it was something that was popping off in the news, I would write about it. Like if something happened in sports, in rap music, and pop culture.
So give us some scenarios. You have some past comics that you've done, like topics rather.
Topics. I did a whole in 2012. I did a whole presidential campaign one. I made one of the characters run for president. So I went through them campaigning and going to the debates and going
ants,
on the news.
Right?
Yeah, they're like giant anthropomorphic like ants, and they talk in slang. So they talk, like street people.
Okay.
It was that I had but the one that I've collected, and that's my collection I'm selling. I wrote a story about in like 2009. There was a big storm in the southeast that stopped the distribution of Eggos. So I couldn't get Eggos.
Damn.
And that was messing up breakfast. So like I wrote a story in which the ants can't get any Eggos. And it was like, yo, why can't we get no Eggos? What's up with the storm? And one of the ants is like, yo, you know who the god of storms is? The store. And it was like, oh, word? We about to ride on Asgard then. We're going to get this problem solved because we got to have breakfast. So that's one storyline I did. I have a storyline where they go through time and they end up fighting like an Egyptian god, and he ends up teaming up with like Adolf Hitler and a whole bunch of other bad guys and other like guys they didn't fought. Like I have them fight like Apollo for like making Justin Bieber, and I have a whole bunch of other random stuff. Like they go to the VMAs, they critique the VMAs, they talk about LeBron losing championships.
That's interesting.
Like,
that's really funny.
I have whatever I feel like talking about. Like whatever happened in the news that time, like Steve Jobs coming out with the iPad. I wrote a strip about that when that first happened. Like, yeah, just write whatever.
That's so hilarious. So what are your websites? What are your social media handles so people can see these?
My social media handles is at Julian Lytle, JulianLytle. That's on just about every single social media platform, from Vine to the Gram to Snapchat to ones that probably ain't even out yet. I'm gonna just make the same ones. On Twitter, I review films too, so you'll see me post links about that.
What website do you write on?
It's called Punch Drunk Critics, and I write reviews of movies from time to time and TV shows. And my podcast is ignorant-bliss.com. You can just search Ignorant Bliss on iTunes, Google Play Music. At Julian Lytle on SoundCloud, it'll come up. It's all over the place. My website is the Julian Lytle because I had Julian Lytle, but GoDaddy is trash and they stole my website from me.
Fuck GoDaddy.
They the worst.
Right, so
they the worst.
I mean, we'll take that back if they want to sponsor us. But
yeah. Hey, they help you out. That's all good. I'm glad for you. They ain't do me no favors. My superheroes are black. Follow that group ASAP.